Hey guys, I just got done watching the Meg. Just wanted to go through some of my thoughts and personal takes on it. Maybe kind of give it a quick review here. So, the Meg is a movie about a giant shark. I hope I'm not spoiling anything there. I didn't know this till about maybe halfway or three-quarters into the movie, but apparently Meg is short for Megalodon. I couldn't figure out why the movie was called Meg. Even about halfway throughout the movie, I was still trying to figure it out, but yeah. So spoiler alert, I guess there. Anyways, so I wasn't too blown away by this movie. It was really just okay. At least when I rented it, it had it in the action category, even though it was showing up in the Halloween listings. But once I got to looking at it after I viewed it, it actually did have it listed as action. I really wouldn't say there's that much action in this movie. Jason Statham or whatever his name is pretty good, I guess. As good as he is in these kinds of films. I mean, he's pretty okay. He's definitely a okay actor. And he's always in these high action, high octane movies. But definitely in this one, he was. They just really didn't have much for him to do. I mean, he definitely did do a few things where he would go down his little submarine, but I don't know. Some of the positions they put him in were a little odd, to say the least. They weren't very intelligent. So yeah. Who else was there? There was the Batgirl chick, that got that had that season one of Batgirl. I don't even know her name. She had some stupid ass haircut, so since she didn't take the time to get a decent haircut, I'm not going to take the time to look up her name, honestly, because she really wasn't that great. In fact, if anything, she felt like, I don't know, she kind of stood out, but not in a good way. Like you legitimately almost believe that most of these people were on this boat or facility and they legitimately worked there and kind of knew what they were doing, but then every time she was in the scene, it kind of just threw me off. Like I was just like, oh yeah, I'm watching a movie. Like this, she doesn't mesh well. It's almost like she didn't really fit in. But yeah, that was just my take on it. I mean, it kind of kept throwing me off, and she kind of had this weird ass haircut where it was like it was either too wet or had too much gel in it, so it was like super spiky, but it was down spiky. I don't know if that's a thing, but she made it a thing. But yeah, it kept distracting me, honestly. And her acting really wasn't that great. There was like one scene where she had to cry, I guess, or attempt to cry, and I don't know, I couldn't believe it. It always just kept throwing me out of the mode of the movie, and kind of kept reminding me that I was in fact watching a movie. Which, speaking of which, I mean, there's the main protagonist himself, the shark, him or herself. And that would kind of throw me off a little bit too because the graphics weren't all that great. You could definitely tell it was a digitized shark for the most part. I think there was maybe one or two instances where they maybe tried to use some type of, I don't know, some type of like real props on set. But I mean, it was definitely just an animated shark, and it really wasn't even that well done. But I mean, overall, I know I'm so far kind of going at the movie here, but I mean, all in all, it really wasn't that bad of a movie. I mean, I suppose I'll give it a rating here in a minute, but there was also just, I guess, a few things I could go over here. I mean, I guess this is another spoiler alert, but they establish at some point in the movie that light attracts the creature pretty early on. I say early on, but it didn't seem like early enough because, like, the opener of the movie, the opening scene, has this shark attacking this submarine that didn't seem to really. Once I even kind of went back and looked, and didn't really seem to have any lights specifically on it. If anything, the rescue sub they take to save the people from this other sub seem to have way more lights on it. So that part was a little confusing. So it was just like attacking this sub sitting on the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, and again, it was an action movie, but they spent a lot of time on the story. But the story really wasn't that good. It just really wasn't that compelling. The characters weren't built that well. I mean, you you almost know nothing and feel little to nothing for most of these characters. They try to build up a little backstory, like the main protagonist, Jason Statham's character. He has a little bit of backstory, but I mean, it's pretty typical. I mean, it's the washed up hero story, is what it is. I mean, they literally find him drunk at a bar, and he's usually constantly trying to drink. So nothing new there. I don't know. And there's just lots of weird moments in the movie too, because they establish also that the shark doesn't like boats, but more often than not, they're out on a boat going after the shark, usually within a very short distance. And it seems like a lot of times, for story's sakes, the shark's not interested in their boat per se, but perhaps another boat. And then there's multiple instances where they would get in the water for whatever reason, and the shark would be chasing them. But then right before they get on the boat, the shark just like stops, and it's like it literally just stops short of the boat, and it's like for some reason it's like, oh, I'm not going to destroy this boat, even though it's been well established that the shark does not like boats. So I don't know. That was definitely a huge plot point for me. I just didn't understand. And that also kind of kept throwing me out of the movie. I mean, you'd literally have this giant megalodon shark chasing these people in a boat that it could definitely capsize at any moment. And these people would be swimming onto the boat, and literally as they get on the boat, I mean, this megalodon would just stop feet of the boat and then just go away. It's like, really? Okay. Yeah, and there's like another scene where they put this girl in a cage to shoot the shark with like this serum compound they came up with to kill or drink this shark, supposedly to kill. But yeah, I mean, they establish that they see the shark coming, and they have comms and communication with this girl that's in this cage down below that's going to stab the shark. But at no point did they tell her what direction the shark's coming from, so she's left just looking aimlessly in a 360 glass container, wondering where the shark's going to come from. And they even tell her the shark is coming, but they don't give her a direction or coordinates, and it's really odd, and it leaves me wondering why they did that to that poor woman. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking over some of my notes here, and I mean, all I can write is lame. Graphics look terrible. Oh, here we go. One beach scene was kind of cool towards the end. I mean, I won't ruin it too much, but there is a beach scene. It was a little underutilized, and I think they could have done a lot more with it, but it was definitely nice to see the megalodon, the Meg, I guess just in a higher populated area. But again, I don't want to build it up too much because it wasn't that great of a scene, but it was just a little nicer than the others. There was just a little more happening, but it was still a bit of a letdown, and there was still a lot more they could have done with it. So anyways, I guess I will just go ahead and rate this movie. I mean, it was okay. I definitely won't watch it again nor recommend it, but it's an okay shark movie. I mean, towards the end of it, I just found myself wanting to watch a better shark movie like Jaws, even though it's a much older. It would definitely be much more action packed and scary. So yeah, I think I find myself at about 2 out of 5. Yeah, definitely 2 stars out of 5 for sure. It was just an okay movie. I mean, it wasn't just terrible. I mean, there was enough good actors in the movie, and at least enough happening that I wasn't just completely bored out of my mind. But I definitely wouldn't recommend it per se. But if you're looking for maybe a little bit something different, sure, why not give it a shot? But yeah, that's my rating. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.